Oh shit, boys! Welcome, America. This is my new microphone. How do I sound? To the let me try that again. To the Eric and Rodney show with Robin, presented by Offensively Creative and Dinsmore Steel in Volare. I guess you're never gonna believe this, but I'm America's sweetheart, Eric Ryan. I own Offensively Creative. Does this sound better? That's Rodney Steele. He's Rod, the PEO god. He owns Dinsmore Steel. That's Robin Valdez. He's the thriller from Manila, and he's representing Volare, the world's greatest email marketing service. And ladies and gentlemen, oh my God, he's such a genius. You should watch all the shit like I did and feel stupid. Zaheer Ali, welcome to the show, or Z, whatever you want to call him. Thank you.
Welcome, thanks, guys. It's my pleasure to be on tonight. This morning.
This is
waking up still, man.
I know,
whatever day it is.
Actually, it's 7 a.m.
Right.
over there, right? That's too early.
Actually, what it is? It's Friday, right?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
What's in the mug?
Barely even out.
Coffee?
Yeah. It's got to get some life in me. I was out too late last night. We have a local first grade dad's poker night, and it gets it gets going, gets late, but it's a nice nice break from reality. Once
I have a first grader too. I need to go play poker instead.
How did you do? Did you do well?
I was fourth, so I got a bad beat, so I didn't finish in the money this week.
No, sorry.
Don't feel bad. I played pickleball and I lost a few games yesterday, so it's we lick our wounds, we keep on, right?
All of our hobbies go right in the shitter.
I actually lost 3 in a row, which was very upsetting.
I got to drink for dudes for 4 hours, so I think I won.
Yeah, no, that's getting out. Anytime you get out of the house, that's a victory. So
that's right, dude. Especially with kids.
That's true. That's true.
All right, so Zaheer or Z, every day here in the United States. I don't know if you've seen the show. I mean, it's we're internationally renowned. We're huge.
Check it out.
We're the biggest thing on the internet.
We're big time. We're big time.
Yeah.
On LinkedIn Live.
Yeah, we're huge. But every day is a reason to celebrate here in the United States. And usually I go to the National Day calendar, but today is it's so special it wasn't even there because, ladies and gentlemen, it's Robin Valdez's birthday.
No, that's right.
National Robin Valdez Day. Robin, you hunky piece of shit.
There he is.
Oh my
God.
He is.
Thank you.
What are you
Robin,
doing on the
can
show?
what's going on in these pictures here? Can you walk us through your thoughts? What's the first one there?
Well,
what are you thinking?
Three of these were for underwear advertisements. So
you don't
thank
say.
you.
Okay. So this isn't you just posing in the mirror. This is work.
Yeah. The middle one on the left was actually for Hanes' campaign.
Hanes? I didn't know you worked for Hanes.
Yeah,
so on the show today, we have someone that worked for NASA and someone that worked for Hanes. That's very exciting. Is
that an Indians jersey you're wearing there?
It is an Indian. You can't say Indians. That's the Guardians.
Yeah, you can't. You can't say that. You can't
Guardians.
Burn that jersey. And what's going on up in the top left there?
That's
top right. Sorry,
top right.
That's my graduation photo.
Oh, that's nice.
Great representation.
I thought you were in the color guard.
Were you in the Filipino marching band? That kind of looks.
Yeah, the marching band.
Yeah, I was.
You are ripped,
man.
Yeah.
My parents got here.
What was that?
And we're amused. My parents got here from India, and we're amused to find a baseball team called the Indians that had a mascot that looked nothing like any Indian they'd ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Columbus Day, it's all very confusing.
Yeah, wasn't it like a baseball head or something? Right, it was a baseball, right? Was it the right
with feathers?
Yeah,
with feathers.
Yeah.
It was the dumbest
Chief
thing I've ever seen.
His name's Chief Wahoo.
Like, what is this?
Yeah, it doesn't look good. You must have been so excited and then so disappointed. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah,
I'm boring, but they were thoroughly confused by this.
I'm still confused by it. Columbus was very confused. I think that started the whole thing.
Yeah. I just want to know where my casinos are because I keep hearing about this Indian gaming, and I'm 100% in. Not way more than the guys who got the casinos who were like 0.005 Indian or whatever.
Oh yeah.
How do I apply for this?
You were so much more Indian than Elizabeth Warren, and she got scholarships. Right. So yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna solve this problem.
I forgot about her.
Yeah. So Robin, real quick, I know we need to move on because man, Zaheer is a goddamn genius. I want to talk to him. But what are you doing for your big birthday?
Believe it or not, tomorrow. I will. Tomorrow is a big karaoke day, so all my friends are going to be doing karaoke. We love karaoke in the Philippines.
I think every Asian loves karaoke.
Here's a quick question for you. I'll go quickly.
Yeah.
What's your go-to? What's your go-to song, Robin?
Oh, go-to song.
What's the crowd with? Yeah. What are you going to open with?
Frank Sinatra. Fly Me to the Moon.
Fly me to the moon.
Oh, wow.
I like it.
No
That's
shit.
a bold choice. That is a bold
very
choice.
bold choice.
Hey, I got to impress.
Zaheer, do you ever do karaoke?
Right.
Yes. But the problem is, I have one note. You're hearing it right now. So my go-to is "Don't Stop Believing," because as soon as you get to the chorus, everybody in the bar just starts screaming with you, and you don't really have to be singing anymore.
That's an excellent strategy. That's really, really good. Holy
Write
shit.
that down.
So they can't tell how bad I am.
Maybe we should make this hour about life hacks from Z. Z's life hacks.
Remember when I told you he was a genius? I was right? Yeah. I mean, I've done my research.
So Eric actually said today when I first came
everything.
on, this is what he said when he first came on. He goes, "You know the guy today that's on our show?" I said, "Yeah, I don't know him, but yeah, I know what you're talking about." He goes, "He's the smartest guy's ever been on the show." I said, oh no."
You know that
you guys are the ones that run the show.
Yeah, we're fucking idiots. So you're proving our point. So anecdotally, and we're going to get into you after the news, but you know how that somebody will say something stupid and then the other person says something to the effect of, "I now feel stupider for having heard you say that." Like Nikki Haley just did it to Vivek at the Republican National Convention. It's in Billy Madison. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. When somebody says something stupid, you should feel superior. I felt stupid listening to you because you were saying words that made sense, but I had no fucking idea what they meant. So that's not a knock on you. It's just because I'm dumber than I thought I was. So this is going to be an exciting show. So Robin,
Just realized now.
How dare you? Well, come on.
It's my birthday, so you can't say shit.
That's right.
That's true. That's a good point.
Let's hit the news.
I just want to know who was holding the leash in that picture, the black and white one.
Yeah,
it looks like
what's
there's
going on there.
And so I want to know who's the daddy in that, in the background.
Oh, man.
You kinky
I want to
son
know
of a
too.
bitch. Papa. Bad boy. All right, let's get to the news so we can get to Zaheer. What do we got?
Right. So we've heard some pretty big talks about Ozempic as of late. So if you haven't heard, it's like a magic weight loss pill. It doesn't exactly make you less fat. It just curbs your appetite. So about 1 in 12 of Americans are on Ozempic, and that's kind of crazy. So it's a big topic for discussion because, like, you have the grocery prices that are hiking up and up. So Ozempic makes people not want to eat so much food anymore. So these big food companies might have to rethink about jacking up their prices.
Particularly
what do you guys think?
Well, I'll tell you this: when the Flamin' Hot Cool Ranch lobbyists are worried, then there's real, like, Skittle stocks are down. It's fucking crazy shit happening. It's plummeting. This is where I need Zaheer, because this is one of those things I fundamentally don't understand about life. I've said this on the show before, right? It's one of the many things. Zaheer, I don't know if you know this, but the statistic is the United States represents 5% of the world population. We consume 90% of the world's pharmaceuticals, okay? 42% of us are obese, and now there's a shot that can make us skinny, so jack that up. So we're going to take 95% of the world pharmaceuticals soon, right? So I figure a way to go, all right, we're eating all these drugs. We spend more money than anybody else on drugs. Certainly, our babies are living when they're being born, and we're living longer in life. Well, doesn't seem to be true. So here's the infant mortality for the world. I don't know if you can see this, but way down at the bottom, the first blue, I don't know why they included states, that's Colorado. Second up for the bottom is the United States as a whole. Fourth is Mississippi/West Virginia. So our infant mortality is garbage, despite the fact that we're spending so much money and eating so many drugs. But certainly we're living longer than everybody else. No. Our life expectancy is 76, which is way less than the other countries. But look at our healthcare expenditure, $12,000 a person per year. So Zaheer, you're a genius. Can you explain this to me?
It's pretty clear. When trying to keep people healthy and alive is a for-profit industry, you create an incentive to treat, not to cure, right? You treat, you don't cure. Nobody wants to cure anything. I think Chris Rock said it best. They ain't cured shit since polio, right?
Exactly. That's the great. Yeah, Chris Rock said the money's in the treatment, not the cure.
That's right. How does a drug dealer make his money? On the comeback, right? So there's a lot of comeback here. And you look at life expectancy, we're alive due to drugs. Other places are alive due to lifestyle.
Oh, yeah. It makes all the sense. So it's true. I mean,
my grandma lived till 92, and she probably would have lived longer except for a botched surgery because of a dumbass surgeon. It's, you know, so our the way we qualify people in this country matters, and in Europe, right, compared to other places in the world, it's critical because we don't really have quacks. Even the quacks have passed their boards, so they're competent. They're just nuts, right? Whereas in other parts of the world, you get incompetent rather than quacks, right? So she probably would have lived longer, might have lived to 100. But 92, that's a goddamn good run. That woman.
Oh yeah.
You know, my parents used to play on DDT sheets. You know, I mean, she inhaled all types of stuff with the pollution and the this and the that and all this shit in India, right? You know, for most of her life until really after 70, the healthcare was not nearly where it was in the developed world, right? In terms of distributed. Now, family was well off enough that they could take care of her, right? So she got the best that they could afford, but you know, everything is just not at the same level, and yet she lived to 92. Right. And most of my family, the elders, live well into their 80s.
Right.
And that's with all these other issues. Right. So to me, it just says that we have incentivized the system to treat us and to extract profit for something that maybe we shouldn't incentivize profit taking from. And on the other side, our lifestyles are goofy as shit. You know, instead of going for a run, you know, I'm going to take a diet pill. Right. And why can't I go for a run? Because I'm exhausted, because I have to work 1.5 jobs, you know, and so does my partner, so that to put food on our table for our 1.5 kids.
You're depressing me.
There's all these structures. The scales have gotten goofy, and exactly right. This there used to be this company out of what is it, Idaho that sold some pretty good pills and made people happy for a while. Turned out it wasn't so good of an idea. But so you know, we got to figure this out at some point, and renormalize. I think that's happening. You see that? That's why there's all this conflict in the U.S. It's scary to a lot of people, but at the end of the day, if you don't talk about shit and don't confront stuff, you can't figure it out.
Yeah, well, that's one of those things.
A healthy fever.
Yeah, that's true.
We have that like love it or leave it baked into our ethos here, where it's so fucking stupid. Like I said the other day, I love the Patriots. It doesn't mean I can't criticize them, but as soon as you say anything bad about the American system or Americans or the military, you're fucking get the fuck out of here. The other thing that like we are paying Mercedes prices, but we're getting Kia output. Like if we're paying more money and getting less good stuff, dying at a clip that's unlike the rest of the industrialized world, when is anyone going to bitch about this? I know we are, but like it's a broken system, and we're spending more money for a broken system. Usually when you fuck with Americans' pockets, we get more upset, but this just seems to be something that we're fine with. Every time somebody brings up single payer healthcare system, it's like, doesn't work. It doesn't work. This shit doesn't work. You know, like,
well, you know, here's the thing I'll say, right, about single payer health systems. Medicaid and Medicare obviously work. The other thing I would say is that it's bizarre to me, right? And I know quite a bit about this, is that like when people start a business, right, regardless of the size of the business, like whose genius idea was it to put the burden of people having health insurance on the employer?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
It was a benefit. It was a benefit, right?
Right. But I'm saying like it's just a burden, right? It's just a huge burden, right?
It is. But at the time, there was no government one, right? It was so the concept was actually revolutionary and in favor of labor at that time. The problem is, like with anything, when you screw up the way your incentives over time, you have stuff pulled to one extreme. So because of that, employer paying, and the employers are like, well, paying individual doctors, it's a shit show. I don't want to have to process all this. So boom, there come, you know, so they bought insurance against their employees, medical bills and things like that. And so this right. Think about it. Why is it the medical insurance industry and not the medical care industry? Even the way we talk about it comes from a business and risk management perspective.
It's so true.
It doesn't come from the outcome of life and health perspective.
Well, that's not what we're interested in.
Just the way we talk about it. So you know, I've got a lot of I've worked with German colleagues a bunch. I've been there, not lived there, but been there for like months at a time in one place. So you know, got a feel for the country, right? And I would never want to move there or anything. You know, I'm very happy, you know, sitting in California. But there are things that are great, and one of the things is that they hybridized it. So they have a base layer of government single payer, And then depending on your job, depending on your financial status, all that stuff, you can buy fancier shit, get add-ons, all that stuff, right? So it's kind of, I think of it like a freemium plan. And we love our freemium plans, don't we?
That's exactly how they should do it here.
Yeah.
I've got like 4 games on my phone that are freemium, right? I can take forever to level up, or I can buy my level ups, for $5, right? And all types of stuff. We love freemium, right? It works because you get to play, you get to test, you get to see how you like it, and then if you want bolt-ons, you can ratchet up, based off.
I always thought that they should
ability.
I always thought they should give everybody Medicare as a base policy, and then you buy up through the supplemental policies. Because like now, if you have Medicare, like my mom's on Medicare, if you have Medicare, then you buy the supplemental policies, right? And the insurance companies can make money, and it's easier risk because they have a defined contribution. Like they know how much money they're going to spend, right?
Yeah.
And the government.
But the other side of this the other side of this equation is it's harder to sue medical people for dumb shit in other countries. Right.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm from, my people are from India, right? So of course I've got shitloads of medical people in my family, right? We're doctors, engineers, or we own businesses. Right now I'm a physicist who's converting to owning businesses, right? So and I've got cousins and second cousins and all this shit who are doctors and uncles and all that, right? So that's one thing they've always said, right? Even the thing with my grandma, right? The guy fucked up, but it was really hard to sue it because it also did fall into the category of shit does happen, right? Not everybody makes it. All of these processes are statistical. Doctors can do their best day in, day out, and there's a mortality rate. That's why they teach this shit in medical school. They class on how to deal with when you lose patients, right? Because it's going to happen, right? That's the one certainty about life is that it'll end. That's pretty much all you get, from day one. Right.
Yeah,
so there's all these sides to it. Right. So the legal system is incentivized to support laws that enable them to extract money from the medical industry. The insurance companies are incentivized to support policy that enables them to extract profit from this. Right. And so when I know a lot of doctors in this country, like Kaiser's striking right now. Right. I got go licensed social care workers, etc. I'm with them. I got friends who are in there, and I understand what they're arguing about because their CEO makes $16 million, and you got the dudes on the line who are the ones actually providing care, who can barely afford to live in a nice neighborhood, and so if your mortgage is unpayable, how are you supposed to walk in and deal with somebody whose 2 family members are dying from cancer and support them when you are completely, like, how am I going to make
then you're a mess.
the roof over my kid's head? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So I talk to doctors and they're like, dude, we don't, frank conversations about money. We don't have those in the US, right? That's another thing we can learn from Europe is kind of this candor about without getting too excited or angry at each other about issues that are important.
Can I just say, giving citizens basic human rights in America for free is just too difficult for Americans to wrap their heads around. It's never going to happen.
Yeah, because you call it socialism and then we got fucking worked up, even though we love the military and the police force and libraries and streets and blah, 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 blah. Can't have that. Can't have medical care.
I hate the libraries.
I don't like to think of healthcare as a human right, and I'll say why, and I'll tell you why. Because throughout history it just isn't, right? It just isn't. But I like to think of it as if we are the best country in the world, how can we not take care of every citizen? Isn't that the definition of being the best country in the world?
You would think.
Isn't that the definition of being great? Right?
Yeah.
So I kind of don't like to even get into it's a right and so because people then will argue whether it's a right or not, and you lose sight of the fact that if we're the best country in the world, we are the great hope of the world, as we have been for 250 years. That's right. The rest of the world goes crazy, and we still, as shitty as it's been at times, have had a democracy that functions, that continually improves every day, right? And all that, and I do believe that every day it's getting better, even with the nuttiness that we have. That's part of the system. It's a messy human biological system. That's why I like physics. It's certain. If you figure out how to break a law, they actually give you a goddamn Nobel Prize. Shit makes sense. Shit makes sense. Sociology, biology to an exception. Sociology is a shit show. Psychology hurts my head. I'm like, dude, I can't understand this shit. I like laws. The equations work, and I can go test it. And if it doesn't work, I revise my equation. Or if I test it enough times and the equation's wrong, turns out I come up with a new equation and they give me a prize. Not bad at the end of the day, right? To me, that was much more logical and linear.
That's what Elon said. He said the only rules or the only laws are the laws of physics. Everything else is a recommendation.
Huh.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
True.
You know, and we assume that the law is ethical, but it's not a lot of the time. You know, and that's why we keep revising it. That's why our justice system is not, you know, Hammurabi's code or something that's literally etched in stone. It's written in ink it's written in ink, right? That can, you know, and we revise it and we have a process for that because we know that we're probably not right. But that's the thing that's really hard for everybody to accept, you know. But I think I think it was like Orwell writing to Eliot about not liking what some people think is the greatest book in the world, which is Ulysses, right? And he basically criticizes him and stuff. And then at the end of it, he says, "But the world is large, and there's room enough in it for both of us to be wrong." And I just love that idea.
That's
right?
good.
So, you know, a lot of the shit I'm saying, somebody could prove wrong tomorrow, and well, I better accept that if it's proven.
No, you're a genius. You're right about everything. See, I told you this motherfucker was smart. Everybody's like,
you should tell that to my wife and my children.
I will,
because most of the time I just get told how wrong I am.
Well, listen, it's for the balance of the universe. Somebody has to
balance it out.
Yeah. All right, listen, let's dumb the show down for the next story, and then we'll pick it back up by talking about Zaheer's career. But this let's go. I'm just right again as usual. I'm fucking right. Here we go.
So this next one isn't really much of a story. It's just a story for me to prove that the news and the media is full of brainwash and agenda pushing. So we have real world problems. Like yesterday, the ocean was boiling. We might not have coffee in 2050. And astrologists are trying to convince us that we need to get naked and moon bathe.
That's right.
Every time there's a full moon. These are real world problems, but both CNN, BBC, and Fox all cover this stupid story about Biden's dog biting people in the White House. Peak journalism.
This is where this dog belongs, which is behind.
Is that bars. Commander? Is that his name? No, what's his name?
This is Commander.
Commander. That's right.
All right. Commander has 11 biting incidents with the Secret Service soldiers on his record. They suspect it's much more, but many have gone unreported. His brother, Major, is already off.
That's right.
They kicked him out.
They sent him out. Yeah.
So this just goes to prove my point, which are cats are much better animals. See, this is the difference between cats and dogs. Cats commit domestic crimes. Like, all right, they shit in the box, they might scratch your furniture, but just like in a neighborhood, if somebody dies, you freak out and go, oh, it's a domestic. Oh, never mind. Property values are fine. Dogs commit public crimes. They sniff your crotch. They shit on your lawn. Nobody picks it up. Every week on the Facebook page.
They pee on the lawn.
Yes, they go every week. I think, guys, you got to remember to pick up your dog shit off the kids' soccer fields. That is something cat owners would never do because we don't take our cats outside because they're fucking normal. This thing is bitten 11 people, and the old man in the White House isn't going to do shit about it. 11 people? It's not a Shih Tzu. It's a German Shepherd. That shit hurts. Go ahead.
He's very cute.
Yeah.
I just wonder if we should lock him in Congress with Congress and say you don't get out. You're stuck in there with him until you solve some of this shit.
Right.
They will work so fast.
I know.
They will work so fast because they'll just have to have Commander biting their ass. And
I want Commander and Matt Gaetz in the same room.
Yeah, I was going to say Commander and Matt
Speaker of the House. Commander for Speaker of the House. That's my
the position's available. So I mean, goddamn.
Oddly enough, they said that Donald may end up taking Speaker of the House, and oddly enough, there is some law that says he could, which is it's just.
I think you
really
don't have to elect. Well, and what's funny about that is then that makes him third in line for the presidency.
Oh God, that's the route. That's well, he's gonna die in office, and then you just have to get through Kamala and bada bingo, bada bango. Donald Trump back in power. Oh, God bless America. All right, listen. We have 6 minutes before we start the guest portion. So you want to blast through another Biden story?
Yeah, the next story is still sort of about Biden. So early on Biden's campaign, he was really trying to promise that not another foot of wall was going to come up if he got elected, which is weird to me. It's almost like if your choices of president in America either needs to be extremely right or extremely left, they need to be polar opposites. Anyway, Biden's admin has taken a step back, so they're putting up new sections of walls. And then Trump, of course, jumps on a story and asks Biden for an apology.
Okay, so here's the thing. This is a weird story, and it's weird the way BBC did the headline because it said Biden approves it. According to Biden, it was already in the 2019 budget, so the DHS has to do it. So, I mean, listen, I'm not I don't know enough about
It's
the wall
literally
to tell you.
law.
It's literally law. So this is what
Yeah.
would happen if Biden stepped in. They'd go, oh my God, what is this? He's a fucking tyrant. We voted for this. We gave him the money. So he was fucked either way. But again, it's not really, it ain't his deal, baby. That was written in when Trump was in office. So, I mean, I'm not trying to excuse
that's
the man. I'm just saying.
the red area is where it's going. It's very small.
It's 20. Okay, this is the thing. It's 20 miles, although Trump only did 50, but there's 400, no, 200 total. I mean, I don't know. So, Zaheer, is a physical structure the key to this? Because it looks like maybe people have figured this out. I don't know.
Yeah. So
Ladders exist.
So at one point in my career, I worked in nuclear non-proliferation, and this was after 9/11. So 9/11 showed us that we were naked in the wind in a lot of ways, and you're never 100% secure, right? And it's like that scene at the end of Men in Black 1 where he thinks he's like, I saved the world, da da da, and then there's like some cruiser that's like about to destroy the world again. He's like, what are we gonna do about this? He's like, there's always something. Every day there's something. There's always something. It's not this, it's that, it's always it, right? And that's what working security is. You know, I just applaud my former colleagues at HS and FBI and all those guys. You know, there's a lot of controversy. People at the top do what they do. The people who do this real shit, the people on the line, the people investigating, the people preventing bad people from doing real things, they are just dedicated patriots who care about, you know, keeping it real here. And so, you know, border security is critical, right? I have to be careful how I describe this, but we looked very carefully at what it would take to make sure no nuclear material crossed that gigantic southern border of ours. And once we'd done it, we're like, holy shit, how the hell are we going to get that funded by Congress?
Right.
Because it was a lot. And so to me, you know, the politicization of this is kind of over here. But having been part of the complex of trying to keep America safe, right? Border security is critical. And there is, you know, I do believe that we have southern neighbors, that we have an ethical you know, motivation to work with and create pathways for people to come into the U.S. It is an immigrant nation. My parents were immigrants. This country has given us everything, education, opportunity. You know, I'm living the American dream. I live in Walnut Creek. People have jokingly called it one of the Beverly Hills of the Bay Area, all this stuff, you know. I have, you know, it's like, it feels like 1950s, except, you know, we have a tremendous amount of diversity on a lot of technology.
I was going to say 1950s, but with some color.
Well, yeah, and
Teslas.
When I was a kid, and exactly Tesla, and this and that, we're getting solar, everybody getting solar, but the kids can still stay out unattended till the lights come on. That's the rule, and you bring them home and the lights come on mainly because of car safety, not because you're really worried about anything happening in the neighborhood. It's that type of place, right? You know, we've got 20 dads on the first grade dads poker thing, and then if you count the whole school, there's like, you know, we could be playing, you know World Series of Poker tournaments every month if we wanted. Right? It's that type of neighborhood. How do you keep, you know? So I believe people have should have an opportunity to have that, but it should be in a logical way that doesn't upset the apple cart, right? And also doesn't enable bad actors to take advantage of our feelings of guilt and ethical need to engage, right? Because there are those people who will take advantage of that. You know, they exist. You know, what you don't see are the tunnels underneath the wall, the massive networks of tunnels through which people and drugs and weapons and other things have been smuggled into the U.S. And that, you know, so yeah, this is ridiculous, right? It's all, you know, when I first saw it, I thought that was like somebody photoshopped it, and then my buddy's like, no, this is a real photo.
Yeah. I mean, as far as I know, it's a real photo, but there's plenty of these to substantiate the idea that a physical structure, like, I think the wall is representative of what it means, not the actuality of whether or not it's going to be effective. You know what I mean? Like, I think we're obsessed with this wall idea, but it seems that people have figured out between tunnels and ladders. I don't know that a wall is going to necessarily work. So,
yeah.
Do we want to do one more quick one? Because I would like his opinion on this as well.
Is this about okay?
Les Miserables.
We should. So our next story kind of takes us somewhere across the globe. It's in London. It shows us exactly why so many people are fed up with climate protesters. So they managed to cancel like an entire musical of the Les Mis. And well, so you have a good cause and
There may
a good
not be
message.
a lot.
Well, no, I was going to say,
maybe
this
not.
is the only way to make a play watchable. You got to get protesters.
Yeah, exactly.
Storming the stage. Plays
they might have done him a favor.
Oh, they did him a huge favor. Plays are the worst
They
form
did.
of entertainment. Oh my God. But yeah, so these guys came on, they strapped themselves to the stage with bicycle locks, and then the stage hands couldn't get it off. So they called the cops. They had to shut down the whole performance, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I don't really care about that. But this is People versus Oil. This is the, or Just Stop Oil is the name of the protest group. And I don't know anything about them. So I went to their mission statement. Evidently, they're a non-violent civil resistance group demanding the UK government stop licensing all new oil, gas, and coal projects. I think that's fine, but what is the alternative? Do we have one? You can't just like shut off fuel and then
It's solar.
That's all it is solar. All right,
Elon sells the solars.
All right, so Elon says solar. Zaheer, what do you know about this? What's the alternative?
We're in a conversion period, right? The economy is converting from one fundamental source of movement and logistics to other sources of movement and logistics. The other way to think about it is if you accept oil as a finite resource, and it is, right? You also think about over the next couple centuries of human existence, how are we going to get plastics if we've burned all the oil? Because right, and everybody hates plastics, and they should, because we use them for stupid shit. Right. You know, I can't. I buy a pack of like my kid likes the Milano cookies. Right.
No,
you know, Pepperidge Farm.
I like them too. I like them too.
Right. Yeah. You know,
Those are great.
and so we buy the packet, and the packet has packets of 2 cookies within it, has a wrapper and a tray. And it's like, fuck, dude, just give me a bag of the cookies, man. It ain't that complicated. And it could be a paper bag, right? So we're using it for dumb shit. But if you go to a hospital, you really want your plastics.
Yeah.
Right? You know, single use medical systems have reduced infection massively and increased throughput in medical care. Right? It's eliminated the autoclave room where people are like cranking through all this shit. I mean, right? So this is a big deal. We need plastics. We need oil. But because, again, it's all about incentives. It's all about where you got to follow. You know, the old joke: follow the money. Right? You know, you can get angry at people, you can get angry at ideas, all that. But at the end of the day, just follow the money if you really want to know what the hell's going on.
The world's based on incentive. Yeah, everything's incentive.
Yeah. So
I have a question for you.
So
I have a question.
Oil. We got to keep oil. Just to finish the thought, right? At the same time, we have to convert the economy. You have to do both, and that hurts people's brains because we humans like to say this or that.
We're binary creatures.
Exactly.
We're very binary. I know. It's probably Ron. You have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. And I'm an idiot when it comes to stuff. So I'm asking: is it possible for someone like, I know there's solar energy, I know that there's gasoline and oil. Is there a possibility for us to come up with a third one? And I know nuclear, that one obviously, but like maybe we just make like here's my question. It sounds stupid, I'm sure, but like people make fake meat, right? We can't make fake oil or fake solar or fake some other kind of energy. I'm asking. I don't know. That might be stupid.
So right, and no. I mean, it's a fair question, right? You say, how do we substitute? Can we substitute something that's not as bad? So basically, everything comes down to making something move or making an electron move. Those are the 2 ways things happen. So it all comes down to that, right? Right. All the stuff we're talking on is electrons jiggling around. The way a combustion motor works is it turns the crank. Hey, my kids are going to be in that. Hey, honey.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the Eric and Rodney Show with Robin. Hi.
Yeah. You want to say hi, baby? All right. Yeah. So my kids know, like, the office is never off limits. It doesn't matter what's going on. I've been talking to like VPs of Congress people, CEOs, and they just walk in. And I'm like,
she's welcome on the show anytime. You can bring her on in.
Yeah. So to your point, to answer your question, Rodney, that's basically what we're doing with the conversion to renewables, right? And the conversion from combustion, meaning a literal explosion, and the expansion of that gas makes a rod move, which turns a crank, which makes a lot of other stuff happen. And actually, the way your alternator is converting mechanical energy, which got converted from chemical energy, which is trapped in the oil, right, or in gasoline, which is a little explosion, right? It's not burning. Like we think of gasoline burning because that's how we see it. No, in your engine is a goddamn explosion, little one, but a little explosion. Piston goes boom, right? Crank moves, and that moves turns into mechanical energy that moves your wheels and stuff. It also turns the dynamo in your alternator, which then keeps your battery charged, right? So when you look at a Tesla, what that's doing is it's taking electric energy and directly converting it to mechanical, right? So the step about the explosion and the mechanical turning something, etc., has all been skipped, right? So we're basically doing that, and the game is going to come down to, at the end, what is the thing we have to do via combustion for whatever reason, scale. We'll figure something out, honey. Right. It's life, man.
We'll figure it out.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Dad's trying to figure out the oil crisis.
Well, I mean, we know what to do. It's just political because of all the money involved, right?
Yes.
And there's ethics issues, right? So we need to convert to ways of creating electricity. What are great ways of creating electricity? Right now, we're burning coal to make electricity, and we lose almost 70% of it between the plant and our outlet because of our shitty grid.
70%?
Right? So there's all this stuff. Yeah, something like 70%, man. So think about it. Carnot cycle, the best you ever get in converting a system of burning something to a mechanical crank is 30%. That's the Carnot efficiency, right? It's a basic thing. Thermodynamics. That's the best you can do in that cycle, right? So we're already, the energy trapped in the coal, by burning it, we're only getting 30%. Okay, so that's bad already. Then you have the loss in the lines up to 70%, depending on distance and things. So now we're at 70% of 30%.
It's not a good percentage.
We're not looking so good here, right? We're not looking so good.
No.
Right? So if I had a superconducting power line, we could probably solve power issues immediately, even still burning stuff. Right now, you got Europe, which is not Europe. The French have got it right; they stood pat. But the Germans have had the stupidest energy policy in the history of post Cold War world, because they're closing their nuclear power plants and they're actually importing. You're gonna love this. They're importing wood from Canada turned into pellets to burn in their pellet-fired steam power plants to then put electricity. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, Jesus.
Have you lost your shit, dude? Keep the nuclear plant,
crazy.
find a way to upgrade it, repair it, whatever, and it goes directly, right? Yeah, we got spent fuel that's dangerous, but that's the only pollution you got from nuclear, right? So we have the means, Rodney. We don't have to have fusion yet. In a hybrid approach of renewables, intelligent fossil fuel use, and nuclear power plants, we can solve this crisis. The problem is the incentives aren't there. The incentives aren't there to the commercial sector. The incentives aren't there to the biggest polluter in the world, China, which continually refuses to clean their shit up. And their perspective is one that you have to listen to, at least. And they said, you guys over there polluted for 80 years. You had your industrial revolution. We get ours. We get to do what it takes to get our nation built up to that level. And if we have to burn, the world down to do it, so be it. That's their attitude, which is nuts, right? At the same time, they produce far more energy, renewable energy, solar panels than we do, and there's a lot of concern that they're going to dump them on the world economy, and it's going to be in the news if they do. It'll be a big political mess, because what's going to happen is we're going to have to us, Europe, other places are going to have to use protectionist measures to protect our economies and our companies against their behavior. Because the other thing you have to remember, every company in China is effectively a state company. Mm-hmm. So no matter what anybody says, it's I mean, we saw that when they disappeared. What was his name? Jack Ma, right?
Yeah.
They literally
Alibaba. I know.
Yeah, they disappeared Jack Ma, re-educated him, and that dude literally looks like they probably attached some electrodes to his testicles, man. I mean, I guarantee that dude was put through horrible shit.
And he's doing some bullshit job now too, right? I mean, he's not the Jeff Bezos of China anymore. He's like
no, he's just a figurehead. He's a figurehead because he's a great inspiration to people all over the world, not just in China, right? The man built himself out of nothing, right? I mean, he was a teacher, which is an admirable profession, but he created, he is the Jeff Bezos, as you said, the Jeff Bezos of China. Anything over there can rival anything over here, and that guy is the one who did it. So for them to be able to do that to him, right? That's like Biden or Trump, saying, Elon, you're too annoying, and we're gonna grab you and put you in jail for 6 months.
What do you think,
and then you're
Elon?
gonna
Do you
be a
think
good
he's a
boy,
genius, or
right?
you think he's a you
Oh,
think he's
absolutely
a genius,
genius.
or you think he's a Barnum and Bailey?
He's both. Look, I love Mark Twain, and one of I think it was Mark Twain who said, Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens, whatever, and California Bay Area thing, I guess we all love him. He said that history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. Elon is the Howard Hughes of our era. Go watch The Aviator.
Yeah.
It's a great movie, great performance. What's her name was just. I mean, I was completely infatuated. Now I can't remember her name, but the female lead in that was just idiotically beautiful, right? As there are certain moments for
was it Kate Beckinsale?
Right, movie, like I don't remember.
Anyways,
I digress, right? But the point is, right, you look at Howard Hughes' life. That guy is responsible for the aviation industry, period.
Yeah.
Who remembers his name? You've got Hughes Lab down in San Diego, LA, that does deep tech research classified for the federal government. That's the only remnant of him with anything with his name on it, right? But that man pushed and created that industry. He didn't invent it, but he's responsible for it as it is. I think that's what's going to happen to Elon in a couple of ways, right? And also, it's the other side of it. What is it? I think it's Batman or Spider-Man. If you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah.
Batman, yeah, and that's a little bit what's happening to him, because the thing is, right, we all are wrong every day, constantly, in many ways, right? The difference is me being wrong and being expository about it doesn't move the economy. With it's him, it does, right? So I mean, I admire him. At the same time, I'm fed up with his shit. As a shareholder in Tesla and in SpaceX, I would like him to just run the fucking companies and make money and do what he's good at instead of meddling in politics.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, listen.
I wish you got X.
Well, here we go. Ready? So this is you. You did you're I'm a prolific motherfucker. So you did a TEDx talk on agile methodology. You talked to Bill Nye the Science Guy about what's it?
I had a lot more hair then.
You did a lot more hair then. I mean, you got this going on. You got this going on. You got all this shit going on. So I have a lot of questions.
Positive's the main gig. Okay. If anybody wants to talk about mergers and acquisitions and how to make a really, really shitty hard part of business better, we've created what is just easily best in class. Our competition is still charging people for stuff that looks like Windows Explorer. They're charging by data tier, like 20 gigs for 20,000 or 10 gigs for 20,000 a month. And we're like, what are you guys doing? It's not 1999, man. Let's get the digital technology. So there's a process in terms of acquiring companies, investing, and then those processes are really goofy. So you got somebody buying somebody else for literally billions of dollars, and the whole process is managed on an Excel spreadsheet and email. And then they wonder why the world has, a massive failure rate for M&A when everything is in the dark ages in terms of the process. Things get dropped, things get lost, wrong things get said, bad interpretations get made, and you have a lot of economic value that goes up in smoke. Because with M&A, right, the concept is that these two companies coming together are going to, be greater than the sum of their parts. But research shows that there's a 70 to 90% failure rate in achieving the thesis. Yeah, and yet the world still spends $2 to $3 trillion per year executing these deals. Why? Because they're hopeful, right? This is how we build economies. This is how we grow. This is how we create, right? Things smash together, and then great things come of it, right? So it's a process that needs to continue, should continue. It's not like we should stop doing this. That's the wrong answer. The answer is fix the process, make it better so that people make better investments, better acquisitions, find and create the value that is there and are able to unlock it because they have the right information in the right way and are talking to each other correctly. And that's what we've created. And, we're kind of the sales force of mergers and acquisitions. We're also going to, because it's fundamentally an information sharing platform, and that can be highly governed and it's super secure. We are also working with other entities like the government and certain nonprofits in the defense and security sector, where they're going to take a slightly different angle on the usage and apply it there. So it's a lot of fun. It's funny because I'm a hardware guy by training. I'm an experimental physicist. And experimental basically means instead of doing
instrumentologist. Would you call me? What is that word?
Instrumentationalist. Yeah. So basically,
Instrumentalist. I was like,
so like I know how to make like the widgets that tell you, what the voltage is or how many, how much something weighs, but in an extremely sensitive fashion. But it's funny because I'm a startup founder of a software as a service company, and I'm a hardware guy. But that's the reality these days in technology. You can't run fast enough from the software.
Software is always going to come and catch up.
Yeah, that's right. And then, but what's his name? Head of NVIDIA said a couple days ago, software may be eating the world, but AI is going to eat software. And I tell you what, the revolution is coming.
I heard a saying the other day I thought was pretty good. You might like it. It said, AI won't replace your job. The person that knows how to use AI will.
Well, and eventually the robots.
Yeah, that's right.
How long before they become self-aware and start killing us? It happened in Avengers.
A couple of weeks or no?
It happened in all 25.
It's going to happen at all?
It has to.
I'm not a believer in the singularity. I've read Kurzweil's book. Ray Kurzweil wrote the book. I forget. It might just be called Singularity, and he has this concept. But and I also think the conversation about that's irrelevant because, like this morning, I was making my coffee. I read an article about this 31-year-old business guy in India who replaced 90% of his staff with AI bots. This is the little one.
He's adorable. Hey.
Yeah. So he replaced 90% of his staff with bots, and is now roasting his former employees, saying the bots are better, they perform better, and they're not lazy like my workers were. Hello. So to me, I'm not worried about the singularity causing the end of civilization. I'm worried about massive unemployment doing it. Right. So to me, that's the game. Is all the power.
I feel like those people that are unemployed will just start their own company.
Possibly. I mean, look, that's the thing about technology.
Right?
Look, but there's precedent for this, right? If you look at 1910 to 1960, the revolution in machining, right?
Yeah.
So and even all the way to now the things like 5-axis mills, CNCs. Like I walk into a shop, my buddy. Allied Tool and Die out of Phoenix, and Bill runs that shop. It's a great story. He's third generation. His grandfather started it to supply the industrial military complex during World War II. That's why it's called Allied Tool and Die. There literally were 50 Allied Tool and Dies in every state in the country, run by different people, but they were named such because they were supplying the Allies with parts for the war.
Very cool.
And so I've walked into Bill's shop. And some days like, Z, do you know anybody who can program? I'm like, all right, tell me more. It's like, yeah, because the machines it's basically programming. It's not machining like I learned it, where I was sitting on a lathe, fucking around, right? Trying not to get my shit wrapped up in there, and end up on, the Darwin Awards or something, because I couldn't keep my dick out of a lathe. I mean, you've seen this video, right? This guy, it's amazing. I just want to know why his pants were not sufficient to like protect him. I want to know what happened with that clothing. But right, so that's old machining, and now you have basically a robot that a human has to enter the right parameter to. It's very complex. So the guys coming out who are master machinists now are also master programmers, right? And there was worry that what are we going to do? All these people who make stuff with their hands are going to be unemployed, and yet new things were created, new value was unlocked. We created new products that required people to think differently and do different things. We educated the populace in different ways. So a base level education rose so that they could do more higher order thinking, and the world moved on. And that's what I think will happen with AI. But the difference is that took 50 years, and this is going to take 15. So we have to realize that we have to all cycles went from here to like, right? It took like 50. I think it took 25 years to electrify 50% of America or something like that, and the whole country was like many decades, and it took 6 months to get 50% of American teenagers on TikTok, right? Jeez. The cycle's gone from here to here. right? So we have to act fast in our power structures economically as technologists to ensure that we manage this transition without a fall off a cliff. Certain things are going to help us. Baby boomers are dying, and other generations are not having as many kids. So we are moving into a period in human history of right sizing populations to certain things, right? This is not caught up in the developing world because technology is actually a driver of lowering populations, right? And in places like India and Philippines, lots of Asia, right? That cheap labor enables everything, right? It's but as technology rises, educational levels will rise too. Population will naturally, we've seen, reduce their growth levels, and things will level out. The problem is you want to minimize suffering in all that process because it's a lengthy process. It's messy, it takes time, and you don't want humans to get chewed up in it. So to say it's complicated is obvious, but I think there's a lot of facets that people forget about. They just focus on the technology.
I think I'm frozen, but can you still hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, you, Eric. Eric, is that
sorry.
you?
I don't know what the fuck's going on. The internet for 100 episodes has been fine, but not now. Zaheer, can I dumb this down for a second?
Sure.
Okay. So this flat Earth thing, right? We get a lot of somebody wants us to get this guy named Flat Earth Dave on the show. So Sophia, can you talk about this? Also, the whole with conspiracy theories, right? Follow the money, I think, is generally true. With the flat Earth thing, what is the conspiracy? Where's the money? Why is this a thing?
Well, I mean, throughout history, you've had people who were a little off mentally. They go off and do things. And it used to be, they've always existed in America. You got the purple people and these different cults and things, out in the desert. But ever since the internet, they've got a platform that we can't keep them off of. So I think it's the same percentage of the population. Yeah. Well, I just think it's the same percentage of the population that's nutty. They just now have a way to get a lot of exposure. But it was funny because I worked on SOFIA, right? Stratospheric Observatory for Infrared Astronomy at NASA. Purely open. I can tell you anything except the way that we budgeted because it's protected. I mean, it's government, right? So
you used our money.
So, well, but for good purposes. We found water on the moon, dude. I mean, it was it was great and glorious while it lasted, and we did badass science. But I used to get emails from the flat earthers demanding that I admit that Sophia was the real Hubble.
Oh my God!
It is really, I've met these nutters. They've showed up at speaking engagements. My colleagues have met them. One dude confronted one of our pilots in a Starbucks. It was really funny. And this is Manny Antimisarius, A11, and he's a spicy Greek. I love the guy. One of the best guys I ever worked with. Straight to your honest, just love him. Super qualified pilot, amazing individual. And this guy and a veteran. Okay, veteran. So this guy walks up to him and demands why he's lying about what Sophia really thought. And then he says to Manny, "Why do you hate Americans?" And thankfully, somebody stepped in between them before Manny could teach this chap a lesson or two. So those people exist, and they do.
Before he knocked him flat.
Oh my God! Oh yeah, he would have knocked his ass flat. Yeah.
I have a question for you. Can you imagine what would have happened? Can you imagine how many people would be living on the moon if you had found oil?
Oh my God, we'd be there already.
We would have invaded the moon immediately.
Brother, we know it's going to happen because we're going to go there. And why are we going to go there? What is the great power race? You guys should check out Professor Namartha Swami's book, Scramble for the Skies, the great power competition that's happening, and it is happening. We are in a period of intense competition and uncertainty about the future of the human race. And we're fucking worried about TikTok, and other stupid shit, to your point, Robin, right? But that's why we're going to the moon. The game on the moon is rare, what we used to call rare earth metals. Now we call them critical minerals. It's all the stuff, cobalt, tantalum, titanium, erbium, right? All that shit, all the heavy metals, anything beyond iron has to get created in the supernova because fusion stops at iron. So you have to have something bigger make that fusion happen, right? Natural fusion happens. That's what they call iron death or iron limit of stars, right? And then when they go nova, they hypercompress. You get bigger energy happening, and boom, you get all these heavy elements. They go out into the universe in different ways. How do they get to Earth? Probably asteroid impact. So the craters on the moon, which are asteroid impact, therefore most likely have important minerals, and lots of them in high grade ore. That's the other key. We've taken so much of this shit out of the Earth, right? The same problem we have with oil. Like, why do we have to create earthquakes to release oil, and we're earthquakes in Texas? What the fuck, right? That's not right, right? We're creating natural disasters. The same problem has happened with mining. The ore grade has gone down. So what does that mean? Meaning, if you pull out 100 ton of rock, what percentage of it is tantalum? It used to be N%. Now it's 1/10 of that percent, right? So that takes a lot more processing and all this other shit. So it's actually going to be cost effective to go to the moon, grab that shit, probably process it there, and down mass.
Can I ask another question? Can I? That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Here's my other question. I was listening to the Elon book by Walter Isaacson, and I don't know if this is even possible, right? I don't know how he did it, but you know how he has Starlink, right? And he said basically it's satellites that are low level space or whatever. Is he a genius, or did nobody else have enough sense to figure this out? Because I gotta be honest. I feel like if I had any real money, I would be shooting satellites up constantly, offering internets. I mean, that is the future, isn't it?
Yeah, but so it wasn't
like government couldn't figure it out or something. He said the government couldn't figure it out. I said, how is that possible?
No, that's nonsense. The government. Okay. I mean, how do you think we have GPS and all this other stuff?
That's what I thought. You guys invented the internet.
But it's not the government's job to provide commercial internet, right?
That's fair.
No, he was talking about for the military. He's like because they were like, what? I was reading the book. They were like, why does Starlink? Why are you in Ukraine and this and that? Yeah. He's like, the government doesn't know how to do this. He's like, so I had to do it. He's like,
I'll take.
And it was just very bizarre to me because I'm thinking like the government created the internet. What are you talking about? Yeah, they ought to be afraid to get Wi-Fi on.
Well, again, you look up companies like Viasat and Comtech that are doing amazing things and have been doing amazing things for years. There's an industry that has been providing this in different ways. But the problem is, right, when you look at the way that Elon has been able to, and the industry in general, driven first and pulled by him and SpaceX, all credit where it's due. What they've been able to do is reduce the cost of getting to orbit, right? The nominal cost, last time we had, now that'll put some girls in orbit, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, how much does that cost? I was curious, like how much would it cost to put a satellite up there?
I don't know.
Well, it's about 2,000 to 5,000 per kilogram, and that is down. That is down a factor of 20 to 40 from previous costs. So that lets you put up shitloads of lower grade satellites that are basically disposable.
So let me ask you one other question. Is it possible for me to buy a couple of satellites, send it up there, I never have to pay for internet again? Is that
it would probably be cost prohibitive, I would imagine.
Because you won't have coverage, right? The coverage is in the mesh network.
Right.
That's the key. Yeah, and that's what everybody's upset about because it takes so many of them to create that coverage that it's gumming up the sky for astronomers. And so there are
satellites keep getting lost as well.
And the astrologist.
Space trash too. Lots of space trash, I hear.
I mean, there's a lot to unpack. I mean, I think we've only got a few minutes left. But
we only have 2 minutes left.
Issue. Yeah. Space debris is an issue. People to follow on that. Murray Bajah out of UT. He's kind of the great spokesman in the world for cleaning that up and helping people understand. But he'd be a great guest for you as well.
All right, let's get him on here. I mean, you were great. We only have 2 minutes left. Amazing. I do want to plug your stuff. We sort of we plugged position a little bit, but do you want to talk about Thunderbird or
Yeah, definitely. Thunderbird. I'm a professor of space leadership, business, and management. In the degree program that I created, I'm also an alumni. In 1946, Thunderbird was created by returning Air Force veterans for international trade with the idea that borders frequented by trade are seldom sea troops. And every university in the world has copied us. Every MBA program is now global. We started that. In 2022, we created our space business degree, and we did it again. MIT and Harvard are copying us, and it is the future. Space is the future of the human race, and we're going to lead it just like we did then. And with the vision of let's do business and let's not shoot at each other.
That's, I think, very smart. That's a good plan.
I can get behind that. I can get behind that.
Get behind that.
Yeah. Sustainable prosperity for the future, man.
Nice.
Right.
Oh,
like
then
it.
we ended on a happy note. Listen, man, you were great. I love having
Yeah.
experts on. You seem to be an expert about everything, so that's
You're
pretty
very
exciting.
smart.
Yeah, man, we'd love to
Great
have you
guy.
back.
Let me just
here,
say this: if I ever have a trivia team, you're my first choice. You are very. You're
Trivia
probably
night's
the
always
smartest
fun
person
with
I've
the-
ever talked to.
Trivia night's always fun with a bunch of geeks.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
you're
but,
my
yeah,
first
but I got to
draft
be honest. I know a lot of geeks. You're pretty cool.
pick.
You know what I mean?
Appreciate
play
it. You
pickleball
guys,
with
I
me
love,
any day.
it's been a ton of fun. It's been a
Yeah,
ton of
no,
fun. You
it's,
guys, I
Yes.
hope the show continues to drive forward. I'll definitely be sharing it because it's fun. I love what you guys are doing.
Thank you. We're trying to bring some levity to the cesspool that is LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
You know. All right, man. I'll let you go.
It's almost Facebook at this point. Cheers.
Well, we're trying. We're trying our best. So I'll let you go take care of the kids. It looks like they need you. But thank you very much for being on. You were awesome. You want to stay in the green room for 2 seconds? I just have to log off here.
Sure.
Goodbye, America. Enjoy Columbus Day. He was a dick, by the way. But you get a Monday off, so that's exciting. See you Tuesday.